What's up, guys? Yes, it has been a while. It has been a very long time. I'm sorry, guys. I needed to take personal time and I decided to make another channel and do fighting games. But now we're back. Let's get into it. We're going to make the tier list for season 5 right now and go over every gun in the Warzone meta. All right, guys, we're going to get into it with the ARs. So there is no meta ARs at the moment. They're all very versatile and there's a lot of them in the A tier right now. For my picks, it's going to have to be the 7.62, then the Tempest Razorback, ISO Hemlock, M13B, and STB. Now, the reason I choose the 7.62 instead of the 5.45 variant being here, 7.62 does more damage. Yes, it bounces more and it has more recoil control that you got to put into it, but honestly, I believe it got a buff this last patch. So I've been seeing a lot of people still use it. People are dominating with it. So I'm going to put it here in the A tier. The Tempest Razorback, of course, is one of the best weapons to have with your sniper rifle, just because it's fast, very versatile, movement bound, and everything else. I generally like the Razorback. It shoots fast, sounds good. So generally it's in the A tier. The ISO Hemlock now getting a little bit of an adjustment, a little bit of buff. People are still using the ISO Hemlock just because it has no bounce, has no sway. You can totally control its recoil, if I can say that right, you know. And honestly is still one of the best ARs to use to date right now. The M13B getting a buff. People have been using that. It still shoots marshmallows like its counterpart in Modern Warfare 2019, but it is still very viable, and I'm seeing people shred with it a lot lately too as well. Then we got the STB 5.56. Now this ghost in the dark kind of AR, I generally like it. It feels good in the hand. There's a little bit of recoil to it, but once you get that recoil, thing just goes. It blasts it. It stands up and bangs like it's in an MMA fight against Iceman Chuck Liddell. If any of you guys know who that is, that man is a beast. But the STB 5.56 is very good, very strong, and very fast. Then we go to the B tier. We got the new AR, the FR Advancer, or the FFAR, like we really like to call it. This thing is all right. It bounces, it moves everywhere. It's very versatile, very fast. It's more for a sniper support weapon, and even then it loses to the Chimera and Cast Off 7.62. It even loses the MP5. To be honest, I've lost with it, and it kind of just pissed me off when I threw my controller. But we've also got the M4, the Lockman 5.56. Because of its nerf, it's really just dwindled down the pole back again. Then we get the TAC-56 because those nerfs. Then we got the Cast Off 5.45 because it doesn't do damage. Like, it just does not do damage. Then we got the Chimera and 74U because those are sniper support weapons. They're a little bit easier to use. There's a little bit of bounce to them, and they do a lot of damage short to mid range. And then C tier, of course, is the M16. This thing has never been good. This sucks to say because the M16 back in Black Ops days was the shit to use. Let's move on to the submachine guns and get that rolling. So now we got the submachine guns, the SMGs, the fast carry, slide cancel all over your face type of deal. We've got the Lockman sub and the ISO 45 being the absolute meta. The ISO being a fast fire rate type of gun, can have optimal builds like a hip fire build, a short range build, and of course a medium to short range build as well. Very versatile, very quick to the hip, quick to the eyesight. Generally don't see any problem with the ISO. The Lockman, now it did receive a nerf, but it did not receive a big nerf to knock it out of the meta contendership. Not one freaking bit. People are still rolling with this thing. People still using it as sniper support as well, as we've seen in the WSOW. Now this thing is just been so dominant lately, I don't see it getting ever knocked out, but we'll see. Then when we go down to the A tier, we got the PDSW 528, the P90. This thing can bang. It honestly feels good in the hand, very versatile, and you can run and gun with it as much as you want. People are going to say I'm wrong for this, but the FSS Hurricane is probably in the A tier right now. It just received a buff. This thing is very fast mobility wise, very fast ADS. and it can bang. It can stand up and bang. I don't care what anybody says. This thing has been dominating from my rankings and stuff like that. And at the moment, yes, I'm only gold, platinum. I get that. I'm not at the top of the food chain, but hear me out. Seriously, the FSS Hurricane is freaking sick, and you guys got to try it. As well, the Bell 46 getting a buff. People are saying the buff wasn't like crucial enough to get it into the meta, but honestly, I'm seeing people run this. It is very versatile. You can make it a very quick running build and hip fire rather than ADS, but if you ADS, this thing still goes and bangs. We got our B tier, which is the MX9, the Bass P, and the Bass Neck. Now, I'm a big MPX fan. The Bass P is kind of one of my favorite things to run, even though it's B tier. That things can still stand up and bang. The Vaznev just falling behind with the lesson than to nerfs. Still good in the regular multiplayer ranked, but for Warzone, it's not very good. And then following up with that, we got the C tier, which is the Finnick and the Mini Bach. The Finnick just receiving so many nerfs. I just don't see it get used a lot. But other than that, let's roll to battle rifles. All right, so we got the battle rifles. This one's pretty easy, and now the battle rifles are just slaying the meta right now with the Cronin Scroll and the TAC B. As you can see, WSAL, all the professional games have really just been using the Cronin Scroll. This last coming week, people are finding out the TAC B is back being strong again. TAC B is probably by far one of my favorite weapons to use in Warzone, especially ranked. And then we got the Lockman 762 and the SL14 at A tier. Now, a lot of people will say, well, the SL14 it stands up and bangs, it goes hard, it's probably one of the biggest meta things that it can be. I don't think so. I think the TAC B and the Cronin Scroll still beat it out intentionally. The 762, same way. And then we got the FTAC Reton in C tier because no one uses that piece of trash. Absolutely no one uses that piece of trash, and if you do, let me know in the comments below if you do, because I want to talk to you. I want to see if you're okay, because you don't sound okay if you're using that freaking weapon at all. Now we got the shotgun. Yes, the shotgun meta, even though we got a lot of bans and stuff like that, it's kind of hard to tell what you want to use. But honestly, none of these shotguns are going to be SA tier. But let's show you what we got. Oh, right, so we got the MX Guardian and the KB Broadside in A tier. Now, with those nerfs of not being able to use fire, rounds kind of hurt these things, and you don't want to use these shotguns in ranked period. And C tier, we got the Lockwood, the Bryson 890, the Expedite 12, and the Bryson 800. These things aren't shit, and they suck ass, which kind of sucks. Shotguns are that kind of close range, one shot potential type of deal, and they just aren't in this game. Let's move on to now the rifles. The what are they called now? Marksman rifles. That's what they're called now. Let's move on to that. All right, so we got the marksman rifles. Nothing goes past the B tier. We got the EBR 14, the Tempest Torrent, the TAC M being in the B tier, with C tier being the SPR 208 and the SAB 50. There's just no damage to these weapons at all. It takes a bit. You use sniper ammo, so if you want to use the EBR, it does do a lot of damage, but man, you run out of bullets so fast in Warzone, so it's just completely and utterly useless. Same thing for the Tempest Torment. Feels good in the hand, just not enough bullets. Not enough bullets at all. Now let's move on to the LMGs. All right, for the LMGs, we've got the RPK and HCR being A tier, and they're not meta. The RPK was meta for the first like 6 months of Warzone 2, and that got boring immediately, but it is still a good gun to run. It's very stable. If you guys really just are having trouble with all the other guns, I suggest the RPK. This thing has 75 rounds. It's very slow, but there's barely any recoil, and it does damage. The next one up is the ACR 56. This gun is pretty solid as well. The HCR as well, it has no recoil, very good and fast ADS speed. Next we got the B tier, which is the RAL MG, the Sakin MG 38, the 5.56 Icarus. I feel like if people find the right build for the Sakin MG though, it could dominate again. It could be a meta contender, honestly. I haven't got to test it out a lot, but as per just analytic results, the Sakin is in B tier for the moment. And that'll be it for the LMGs. Next, we have the sniper rifles. Now, this is kind of like a big old toss up. And I think I forgot the LMS battle rifle. I think it is. Is it battle rifle or is it marksman rifle? Yeah, it's a battle rifle. I'm gonna put that thing in its B tier because it does do damage. But other than that, let's get to the sniper rifles. All right, so now we got the sniper rifles. The only meta sniper rifle you should be using right now is the Signal 50. This thing is very dominant. You do 2 shots, they're dead. It's just that easy. Same for the MCPR. It is A tier because I see less of it being used. I see more of the Signal 50 because the MCPR does have that recoil stabilization issue. When you shoot, it takes you a second to fucking cock it back in, get it loaded, and set up and shoot again. Our next up is B tier. We have the Victus XMR, the Karak 300, and the FJX Imperium. Because snipers do not considerably one-shot the target, it is very hard to use the FJX and the Victus, or even the SPX, which SPX was meta for a while, especially when you could use the explosive rounds. But in ranked, you can't use explosive rounds, so we're just kind of stuck with it being non-one-shot weapons. We also got the LAB 330. Honestly, the LAB 330 feels good for me. I really liked it when you could use explosive ammo and stuff like that. So those are in their C tier. The only thing we have left now are handguns, and honestly, most of the handguns are going to be D tier only because they're not that great. The only situation you're ever going to have for pistols is water fighting. And even then, our favorite loadouts like the X13 and the Magna were both nerfed for ranked. You can't use the X13 auto to begin with at all anyways, so it's just a little bit harder. So I'm going to rank the pistols in D tier alone because they're just not that good. Other than that, guys, that's your video. That's our tier list. We've got the absolute meta going on. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys. If you guys can, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications. That way you guys can always know what's popping over here because I'm going to start posting again. We're going to be a little bit more in tune. We're still going to do build loadouts and stuff like that, but we're going to be more in tune to doing more different FPS games as well. So stay tuned. Hope you guys like it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.